Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. At time of streaming, the patch for 6.55 has recently dropped, and thus we're going to be diving right back in. I've got my Reaper, and we're going to be... Oh, it's Ajdaya! Razatan. Home. When one door closes... Charlene. Ah, Coda, one of my clerks is just here with a message for you. Students of Baldessian request your presence at Charlie at your earliest convenience. As I'm indebted to our friends, I'd hoped I might be of service, but it's you alone they require. If you've no pressing business, pray make your way to the Baldessian Annex. Ojiko awaits your arrival. In the meantime, I shall continue showing Asjaya the city. From the noble landmarks to people's lives, there's still much more for her to see. Farewell, my friend. I look forward to the day we set off on another adventure together. Sounds good to me. Do, 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 do. Wind's howling pretty loudly in game. A warm and hearty welcome to you, Coda. I gather you received our message. Please wait here while I fetch Kryl and Graha. Oh, right, I need to make sure this is ready here. Oh, hey, Kryl has her hood down for once. I thank you for coming on such short notice, and forgive us for sending you so soon after Trials of the Void, to say nothing against a grueling battle against the 12. Ah, that's alright. It's probably been only a matter of days in-game, but it's felt like months. Now then, we weren't actually the ones who require your presence, but Erenville. He stopped by recently, see, and asked us to reach to you on your behalf. Really? I imagine you're as surprised as we are, given he's supposed to be away on a long expedition. That was my impression as well. Something must have necessitated a change in his plans. All he would tell me is that there's someone whom he wishes Kota to meet. He also mentioned he'd be tending to business at the studium. Shall we look for him over there? Yeah, that sounds good to me. Oh. Well, I can walk there. It's just a bit faster to teleport. I will definitely say a lot of the, without spoiling, all the previewed stuff for Dawn Trail looks pretty promising, and I do appreciate that they're pitching it as kind of a summer vacation of sorts rather than the world-ending threat that the expansions are usually sold on, which I appreciate. Our characters are in the used one. Although I imagine things are going to go to hell rather quickly and we'll have to solve it because, well, the nature of the game requires there to be a problem we can fix through violence. And obviously, I'm very good at that. And actually, I do appreciate how well the jobs have felt in this expansion. I'm usually more of a magic user or range damage dealer, preferably. But I just really synergize with Reaper for whatever reason. Now then, where is Erenville? Sorry, I should probably focus on the story here.
Erenville!
I can't do anything like the voices are supposed to be. Not a voice actor, but then again, I never claimed to be.
Apologies for the wait. I hope I haven't called you away from anything important. I chanced upon some commissioned items at my destination, so I thought I might deliver them.
Where did you go, if I may ask?
The New World. Tural.
Ah. They referred to Atlantic Cross as simply quote-unquote the New World. And yes, people did meme about the MMO New World at the time, but... Well, it's been known even before New World, honestly. It just made the memes easier when New World came out. The official
You
name
went to Tural. Then the person who you wish to introduce.
Aye, she hails from there. I present to you...
But it seems you've lost her.
Did she wander off?
Or she shrank herself in order to avoid detection. Or has stealth powers. Things my tabletop team have done to fix problems.
Sorry. It's just so different here. I can't help but want to explore.
Well, while you were exploring, your candidate came to us.
Candidate, huh?
This is him. The adventurer you crossed the seas to meet.
Ooh, you weren't exaggerating. It's plain he's no ordinary man. I'm Uklamat, claimant to the throne of Tulihuela.
And this was one thing I didn't want to spoil before the game itself revealed it. Female Hrothgar are coming with the expansion, finally.
Tulihuela.
Tulialol. I'm
It's
going to forget how...
Tural's governing nation. The capital bears the same name.
And I guarantee I'm not going to remember how to pronounce that name no matter how many times they say it out loud. Because I have a habit of that for some reason.
I'll get to the point. I want you to come with me to my homeland.
Given the magnitude of the request, perhaps you should explain why you're making it?
I mean, I won't turn down seeing a new continent to explore, but an actual reason's probably good.
Of course. Soon, an event of great import will be held in Tural. The Rite of Succession. Taking the form of a contest, it will determine who next ascends the throne.
I hope it's not about the death among siblings or something. That's kind of a silly way to do it.
As daughter to its present keeper, I will participate. And I have every intention of winning. I was searching for champions to join me when Erenville told me about you. A mighty warrior who knows no fear, who sweeps aside terrible fiends as if they were reeds, who flew to the edge of existence and saved our star.
She asked who Eorzea's greatest hero was, and so I told her. Much more elegantly, I might add.
Now you know why. You'll come to Tural, yes?
I mean, I didn't do anything major. I just punched the very embodiment of nihilism. I just punched it until it finally
let's
ended.
all just slow down.
Plans.
Wuklamat, was it? You claim to be of the royal family, but is it not the Mamulja who rule in Tural?
Tulihuela is a nation of many peoples. Not only the Mamulsha, as some across the seas are quick to assume. That said, its present ruler is a Mamulsha, and one blessed with two heads besides.
Oh. Perhaps we shouldn't mention that we ended up getting to fight one a while ago.
He's also my father. Not by blood, obviously, but he raised me as his own, and that's what matters.
So that is the way of it. My apologies if I was indelicate.
Don't worry, Graha, I'm pretty sure, well, there's no proof the one I beat up was the same one, but at the same time, how many two-headed Mamuljas are running around?
Hardly. I know little about your land, and nothing about your parentage. But in my eagerness, I've gotten ahead of myself. I can't expect you to agree on the spot when we've only just met.
Yeah, knowing exactly what I'm fighting for would be rather ideal before I start punching things again.
If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Just know, though, that if it's adventure you seek, you could do far worse than come with me.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Now, this is only a rumor. But apparently, the contest will involve the fabled city of gold and the legendary beast, Valyarmanda.
You do realize there's such thing as talking past the sale, right?
Tell me that doesn't pique your interest.
Well, you have my complete attention.
We're going to get along, you and I. Tural has no shortage of unexplored frontiers and deadly fiends. You'll never want for excitement, I promise you.
I advise you not to put much store by these rumors. Golden cities are not but a dreamer's fancy.
I mean, we cleared one out a little while ago. It just turned out it was under or the protection of the satrap.
Says the dreamer who was bent on finding one when he was a child. Just because you failed doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Just because I already cleaned out one doesn't mean there aren't others.
Tuliolal and the Golden City. Just like in the letter to grandfather.
Also, I didn't realize she had three-leaf clover earrings. That's cute. Yeah, going on a new adventure with a Hrothgar, all with potential treasure. I see absolutely no downsides to this.
Regardless of what the contest may entail, it'll be no simple thing. If I'm to triumph, I'll need capable and dependable companions. So let's go on a hunt together. There's no better way to get acquainted.
Alright, sounds like fun. We're getting right into the action. I don't think there's any new dungeon in this patch. Keyword being think. It's not impossible. A journey to Tyrol. That's the long and short of it, at the very least. Ask that you go on this hunt of hers to make her measure for yourself. True, fighting together or crafting together in the crafting quest is a pretty good way to attach people. Also, I don't know why I didn't realize Erenville was from the same homeland as her as soon as I realized they had the same accent. So where to? The stronger the prey, the better. The game's afoot. Rocco flour. Rocco flour slices boiled in savory broth alongside tender poultry and root vegetables. Caviar, a perennial party favors these horrors of all. Oh. Ah. I cannot pronounce that for the life of me. I can tell it's a... Yeah, I know because caviar is... it's French because caviar is supposedly... from my understanding, it's a French delicacy. But, based on fish eggs, if I remember right. But, well, first of all, don't take a streamer's word as law, for one thing. By all means, Google it. But, look at all those letters, and I'm willing to bet half of them aren't properly pronounced and said out loud. Caviar sandwich. It's every bite extraordinary enough to render one speechless. This sandwich incorporates eggs from the caviar sturgeon, the bird of Elpis both. Given further inclusion of alligator pear slices, one cannot help but wonder at its inventor's obvious preference for ovid-hated foods. Baba ganoush. Traditional Thavnarian appetizer of finely chopped eggplant sliced with ground cumin and a tantalizing hint of garlic. Tia appears equal parts bewildered and excited. Can't blame him, really. Can't see not only Tyrol, but fabled Golden City besides. This is the stuff of grand adventures, my friend. Which is not to say you should hastily accept this invitation. There's still a great deal we don't know. Let's begin to rectify that first getting acquainted by our visitor and the mariner, as she suggests. Manor, not mariner. Ah. I'm not certain what would be a suitable location for the hunt, exactly. When I was at the guild earlier, I learned about a petition for researchers in the Isle of Ham. We went there not long ago and culled some unruly fauna, of course, but according to some reports, some ordinary docile have grown more savage. It's believed they have been unsettled by some matter of predator, and so the researchers seek assistance with identifying and dispatching. As part of your hunt, might you answer the petition? The isle isn't far. We'd be helping those in need as well. Yeah, that works for me. Just so you know, I've honed my skills against some of the fiercest beasts in Turl. Whatever this creature is, it better put up a proper fight or it'll end before you have the chance to get acquainted. Well, as established, the player character is no good at these politics stuff, but I am good at punching things until they stop moving. And before we can prove ourselves capable and dependable companions... My apologies, I must see to some preparations. Please go on ahead into the aisle. I'll join you as soon as possible. I guess if I need to, I could also use another job like Dark Knight, but... If the rest of you are ready, let's head to the harbor. This being guild ship business, it should be simple enough to secure a vessel. Sounds good to me. Do 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 do. Judge Zect. Guess I'd best quick travel to the harbor. Oops. Oops, wrong harbor. Let's just keep going here then. Oh yeah, during the fan fest, Yoshi, he ended up changing his outfit a bit, and a lot of people just genuinely didn't recognize him. Naturally, people joked, okay, maybe the Clark Kent situation was actually pretty accurate. We have to load the ship from one of the captains, a cheery fellow. I can operate the vessel, so we don't need to trouble him to take us. Kral was acting a little strange, I think. This is just a simple hunt. What preparations would she need to make? So we have to take a ship? Ah, and I barely set foot in dry land. Oh well, I suppose a good cause, a hunt after all. Come, let's get going. Upon boarding several cutscenes, recommend you set aside sufficient scenes to play them. In addition, you're required to participate, your progress will be saved. If you're defeated, you can retry. Please note that if you enter battle, okay, yeah. So, yes. Time to go in as my Reaper main. I don't know if I'm gonna change to my main to one of the new jobs, but it's entirely possible. I'm one of those jerks that changes his main every single expansion. What can I say?
From here, we must walk.
What can I say? The devs are really good at making each new job feel extremely satisfying to play, even when it's rather straightforward, like Reaper.
So much ice. Yoktural. Oh, right there. I wonder what it tastes like.
I think me and her are going to get along just fine.
Remember, we're here to deal with creatures that have been deemed an unacceptable danger. Do not attack anything else unprovoked.
You also might want to clarify not to do anything to cause the provocation. Let's just say I've got some experience with exact wording. On that note, would anyone like to sign a Fey contract with me? It'll be fun, I promise.
I know. I know. So this is the isle where ether literally bursts forth.
A literal ether font. Hence the name.
Aye, the Isle of Ham. The geysers lie deep inland, however.
You really are knowledgeable. Kona told me nothing about this place.
I doubt your brother managed to come out this way. He's like to have toured facilities like Labyrinthos, however.
Labyrinthos is a pretty neat
There's
place.
a great big cavern under the city. It's amazing that they could make a sky down there complete with a sun.
This brother of yours, he has been to Charlian.
He has. Kona's my second older brother, and until recently, he was a student in this city.
Interesting.
He went on and on about technological amusements. It made me want to come here too one day. And so I did. I think I understood something of how he felt when I set foot in his beloved studium.
He went to the studium. Your brother must be quite a scholar. But I wonder, like you, he'd be royalty, yes? With such a personage coming to Charlian to receive an education would surely have caused a stir, yet I recall nothing of the sort.
He consulted with the head of the studium beforehand, that his identity might remain secret.
That is actually perfectly reasonable and makes a lot of sense.
Being Mikote, he had no trouble blending in. He's adopted like me, you see.
So the Mulja can't stop adopting children, got it. Mr. Lee from Arkanites would be very much in approval.
One time, though, he almost let it slip to a professor. It was all he could do to parry the barrage of questions.
Having no shortage of questions myself, I can imagine.
Ask whatever you like. I don't mind. But I maintain hunting together is the best way to get to know someone.
The researchers should be up ahead. Let's find them and learn what we can.
Your
The
item
researchers
levels-
should be just ahead. There. The building to the northeast.
I see it there, yeah.
So ordinarily harmless creatures have grown savage.
Don't know what's got them riled up, but I'll take down any that thinks to try me. Right, let's hunt our fill.
I guess I'm a little more rusty here than I thought. It's fine. Excellent. Perfect finisher. I'm also glad I...
Someone's in trouble.
Well, why... I see no reason not to help them.
Taste my axe.
These animals are usually so docile.
Probably didn't have to waste my old super mode on it, but I don't regret it. It's always fun. And I just realized I probably should have warned her about my power being based upon drawing power from the void and actual reapers in order to bring destruction to my enemies. Oh well, I'm sure she doesn't seem to mind. Hard pressed survivor. Oh, thank goodness you've come. I'll take care of the one who wants a repetition. Wait, aren't you? Yes, you're Coda, the adventure saved our star. Would that our meeting was under better circumstances. I was conducting a routine inspection of the transporter here when I suddenly found myself surrounded. You'll find more across the chasm. Once docile animals have grown strangely aggressive. My colleagues can tell you more. If you'll give me a moment, I can just finish checking our equipment.
You really are famous.
And for good reason, as you'll soon see for yourself.
Well, I mean, Reapers aren't that complicated with their rotation. It looks complicated with the 2 meters, filling up one, then using that to fill up another, but it's actually pretty simple. In fact, it's one of the more straightforward, which
Quite an
there's some beauty
interesting
and
contraption you've got
simplicity.
here.
Is that our petitioner? Let's go and have a chat.
Yeah, I remember this part, including this building, but we never reached it when we did the Aetherfont dungeon. Hope you don't mind if I reminisce a bit, but hard mode dungeons in this game, they're not like difficulty settings in something like Warcraft or Dungeon Fighter, or where it gradually gets the same dungeon but tougher enemies, sometimes upgraded enemies, whatever. No, so-called hard mode dungeons in this game are actually completely new dungeons using recycled assets from the originals. They were extremely common during Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward, but afterward they started cutting back the amount of dungeons, release each expansion to add other things. Adventure that came to answer my petition, I assume. We're most fortunate to have one of your considerable skill to aid us. A creature of unknown origin has been sighted on the island, and we believe its presence affects the local fauna. The animals beyond the gate are the worst affected we encountered thus, and we dare not go back. The task is to quell these threats. Search for traces of the beast responsible for this. If you should find anything, we'd be more grateful if you'd share with us. Someone's quite eager. I
I'll
appreciate
handle
that.
this.
Whoops, I forgot to I need to remember Soul So. Oops. Well, that was a bit of waste.
Shadow. Come on, let's pick up the creature's trail.
Sounds good to me. Ooh, actual hunting of monsters. You find the ravaged beast, torn to shreds by
These claw marks. I've seen their like before. It's starting to feel like a proper hunt.
I was going to make a Monster Hunter reference, but this game already had a crossover with Monster Hunter back in Stormblood. In fact, you can even farm Rathalos to this day and get some armor from it if you'd like. It even introduces the mechanics from it, including having limited potions, so if you're a healer, you're pretty much just a... Wait, what am I saying? Healers in this game are basically DPS with healing on the side. You find feathers on the ground. There are signs of fierce struggle.
Feathers. But did they belong to the predator or the prey?
From the talons of before...
So, how do you prefer our prey? Roasted or raw?
Whole
You
and in one
presume it's even
piece?
safe to eat?
Yeah, I guess that is a bigger part of it. Many strange plants they have here. Focus. We have no time for flowers. Animal leavings. Gross, and he had an extremely ideal thing for, yeah, exploring potential fresh leavings of sailor nostrils. Whatever beast is left
Still
them is still
fresh.
by.
Whatever this beast, it cannot be far.
Yeah, like I said, it may be a little gross, but it's rather ideal. And I forgot to use Soul So again, darn it. Probably don't want to waste it.
Suppose they're upset we disturbed their home.
Oh my. I thought there was only going to be one left, but I guess not.
Who knows? If they're spoiling for a fight, hey, joy!
Okay, so they also have the trust thing. Alright.
Let's head back and report what we found.
I did notice Arenville's not really fighting, it's just me, Graha, and Endwalker. Which makes sense. You said the beast is close. Looks like our boss is here.
Powerful wings and razor-sharp talons. Worthy prey.
Oh my. Clever.
What is that thing?
Giant Colbury.
It speaks?
Ah, yeah. So now we know what the creature is. A giant Colbury. A parrot-like creature, basically. My
It's
understanding,
heading towards the falls.
it must have a nest there.
I'll stay with the researchers. The creature, I leave to you.
Come, Woklamat.
Right.
Don't worry, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. If that fails, just make sure you're bigger than it. Ooh, that's a really neat effect, neat scene. The way it started on the cable, the zip line, and then zoomed out. Ah, where we fought that electric bear thingy.
Just so we're clear, I wasn't startled by the beast earlier. It caught me by surprise, that's all.
Oh, don't worry, it got me too.
Forgive me, but I failed to see a difference.
I'm getting hungry. Let's be done with this so we can eat.
Good
Think you're clever, huh? I'll rip off that beak and roast you on a spit!
Yeah, I think we're gonna get along just fine. Defeat the giant Colibri. To my understanding, these creatures were in Final Fantasy XI. Oh, I forgot to.
Talk on your neck, bird. I'm going to have the last laugh.
Oops, I missed the. I hit the wrong key.
Oh, I'm enjoy sinking my teeth into you. Shut up already, you bastard bird!
Oh, I'm gonna guess that's a frontal cone. Oh my. I know what it wants me to do. There we are.
I've never seen such a famous Colbury.
Not good. Quickly, gather together.
Shields up. There we go. We gotta heal over time to avoid this. Oh, this is bad. Oh, nice.
That was too close.
Steady now.
do appreciate that the NPCs actually count as party members for this instance, because they don't always, and that means my arcane circle won't actually do what it's supposed to in terms of buffing them. Escape. Ha. There we are.
Thank you.
Deadly swoop. Deadly swoop. Any minute now. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was toying with us because it's that confident. Big talk for a bird with half its HP, over half its HP gone at the time I did that. Ow. Damn you. Hardly it. Alright, yeah, it's definitely screw. Yeah, I think this creature's actually intelligent. Screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, nothing to it. We have you now, you love bastard! For everything you have up here.
Sounds like a plan. My burst is up, so that's gonna be very easy. Didn't even need my second super mode. For that particular burst window, I mean.
And I had barely limbered up.
Pretty excited.
It was a terrible foe, but no match for your axe.
Trembling with fear or excitement? Hard to say.
Only to be expected.
Okay, it's fear.
You were pretty impressive yourselves. I was right to invite you on a hunt.
Uh-oh,
What a curious bird that was. Though we have similar in Tural, they don't grow so big or use such dirty tricks.
I need my save.
Aye, dirty and despicable. Otherwise, I could have...
I guess I needed to use my second super form in that burst anyways. Burst window after all.
Leave this to me!
Kryl.
I am terribly, terribly sorry to have kept you all waiting.
She arrived as I was seeing the researchers to safety. It was all I could do to keep up with her after I explained what happened.
So this is what you meant by seeing to preparations?
After hearing of the contest, I thought how wonderful it would be to join you. In coming here, I wanted to demonstrate my skill at arms to Wuklamat. Alas, it seems I missed
Oops, missed most.
That was amazing! The piece didn't stand a chance!
I mean, me and my Avatar Reaper buddy were together the whole time, but okay, fine.
I'm glad to have been of service.
May I ask what inspired this change?
You will recall the time you descended to the ethereal sea in search of Heidelin. Recognizing that my skills were inadequate, I chose to provide support from afar, rather than join you. It was the same when you set forth for Ultima Thule. How it pained me to stay behind, again and again.
Well, your role was still absolutely essential. I mean, it was you that helped Anos arrive that was absolutely necessary for the final battle.
That's what inspired this change. Ever since the final days were averted, I've used every spare moment to hone my craft. As you all have adapted your methods to suit the circumstances, I started by considering how I might best contribute. And after much deliberation, I arrived at my answer. With the esoteric art passed down by the legendary Archon realm, Pictomancy.
That's the new job coming in Dawn Trail.
As I recall, you have embraced versatility to effectively complement a certain someone's style. What I do is much the same. Like you, I don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, she's always worn those earrings, I just didn't notice.
Indeed.
Then again, I guess since she has her hood up so often, it's pretty easy to miss.
I must say, you appear to be especially keen on being involved in the ritual of succession. Is there any particular reason?
Yes, there is. This letter from Tuli Yolal. It was addressed to my grandfather Galuf and turned up among the students' archives. The ink was faded, so I couldn't fully make out the sender's name. Galul, someone.
Jaja. Gulul Jaja. That's my father, the Dawn servant. What does the letter say?
While much of it isn't legible, it appears to be a request to investigate the Golden City.
Ooh.
A request to investigate the Golden City? From the Dawn Servant himself?
Well, well. Seems it may be more than a rumor after all.
I guess since technically speaking, there's no way to know exactly what's going on. I could just talk a bit about what's currently known about the Dawn Trail stuff, but it's not much, honestly. And I know some might want to go in completely without it. Not knowing. That's also why I've been waiting until the story itself reveals stuff.
Being a member of the royal family, it was my hope that you could confirm the authenticity of this letter.
Ah, so that's why she wanted to be here specifically. Well, get her fight stuff and also get the letter.
I can say for a fact that my father didn't write this. Given how culturally diverse Tuliyollal is, it was decided some time ago that a common language was needed. But instead of elevating an existing tongue and its speakers above all others, we looked to those widely spoken overseas and created an altogether new one. The similarities to your common tongue also make it quite easy to communicate in these situations, no?
Ah, so rather than simply choose one of their existing languages to be the, for lack of a term, main one, they decided to simply choose the most popular one overseas.
This letter, however, is entirely in Eorzean. If Father had written this, he would have been in Turali. What's more, it bears a wax seal. We don't bother with them.
So the letter is fraudulent then?
Huh. How anticlimactic.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that. My father's signature is genuine, as far as I can tell, so perhaps he simply dictated it.
Does he do that often? I guess it must be often enough that it's something that,
I see. Oh, thank you for the confirmation. It seems my grandfather indeed had dealings with Tuli Yolal. I can't help but be curious as to what exactly he was doing there. In order to help us decide on a course of action, would you mind if I asked you some questions about your home?
By all means. After all, learning about one another was the purpose of this hunt. We can talk while feasting on this fellow. I, for one, am starving.
We're eating that.
well, we do have to confirm it's edible first. But I guess if everyone agrees to it, I see no reason not to. I understand Kral's feelings all too well. The desire to do one's part. It can be daunting trying to keep up, but nothing will change unless we take the first step. Thanks to Woklama. We now know who sent this letter to grandfather, among other things, but many questions still remain. Ah, what an exciting hunt, and now time to savor the reward. With the wildlife pacified and the researchers safe, our task is complete. That just leaves the matter of the meat. For better or for worse, there really is only one place to take it here in Charlian. Last stand. Come, let's see. Daikon can come up with us. Cook up for us. I don't know if it's Daikon or Dickon. I'm assuming, yeah, there's no point in teleporting, but I don't mind. It's not much of a walk at all. Oh yeah, the final stages of the relic weapons are officially done, so... I don't think I'll be able to do it on stream, however, because I don't think I have enough resources for it. Yeah, at the moment I lack the resources for it. I only... The surprise of absolutely no one, I pretty much resubbed immediately up right before this very stream, so... Well now, there's a famished face I've ever seen. What can I get you, Coda? We got something we'd like you to check out. Ooh, bird meat from the hunt, you say? Leave it to me, I've just the recipe. It's a new dish I recently learned from some sailors. A few lot, it's on the house. How much you like? You know as much as you like, you hear? Oh, you don't want to tell me that.
Come, come. Let's enjoy the bounty of our first outing together. I'd heard that Charlayan cuisine was terrible, but this is fantastic.
Well, this is the exception more than the rule, if we're honest. Who is that non-bread?
What is this? Oh, it smells spicy.
Oh, come now. Since when did you become so soft? It's not like we don't have spicy food in Tural, too.
Reminds me, when I go shopping, I have to pick some up.
According to Dickon, intensely hot dishes have become popular in Razadhan after a traveller ordered a curry with several times the usual amount of spice.
Oh no.
So he started offering the same in order to please the growing Harnish population here in Charlian.
It's nothing I can't handle.
Your boorish manners reflect poorly on the both of us. I wish you would consider your station.
I swear, sometimes it feels like you open your mouth only to criticize.
Would I be correct in assuming you've known each other for a long time?
Well, she did mention...
Aye, thick as thieves since we were little.
I beg to differ. She is a long-standing acquaintance. Nothing more.
They're gonna hook up
I
at the end of the
see.
story, aren't they?
I see.
All this time you were from Tural. Oh, would that I had known sooner. There's so much I'd like to ask.
You and everyone else. I've kept it quiet so as to avoid the endless interrogations.
Again, completely fair.
Well, if he's going to be a miser, I'll be happy to tell you about our homeland instead.
Well, sounds like that works out for everyone then.
Since ancient times, many peoples have called Tural home, and they've been fighting each other for nearly as long. The fighting finally stopped some 80 years ago, when the reigning Dawn Servant unified the disparate communities and founded a new nation.
And that's how Tuliolal came to be.
Since then, we've enjoyed an era of uninterrupted peace.
It would sure suck
But
if an
my
entire
father is
expansion
getting old,
storyline ruined that.
and he wishes to relinquish the throne to a worthy successor. One who can preserve his legacy. Including myself, there are 4 claimants to the throne. But while we all have the right to participate, one among us cannot be allowed to rule.
Kinda-
A man who is too ambitious by half. Word of the Garlean Empire's collapse has reached Tural. While most are simply relieved, he sees weakness to exploit and would lead our armies across the seas on a campaign of conquest.
Oh my.
After everything my father has done to give us peace, he would drag us back into war. I can't allow it. No matter what, I must win this contest.
Well, is it a battle royale, a round robin tournament,
I understand
or
your
elimination
reasons.
tournament,
But this being an event that will dictate the course of your nation's future, is it appropriate for outsiders like us to be involved?
Yeah, technically speaking. And the protagonist of this game is actually technically a foreigner from even beyond that. Because the whole game story begins with you finally arriving in Eorzea from wherever they came from. It's left intentionally vague. I guess since my guy's a Makota, he probably came from authored or the authored continent or something like that. Although that would be quite a travel. Although it would also mean he returned home, well, to a previous home during Stormblood.
Oh, it's more than appropriate. The Dawn Servant himself expressly encourages it. The ruler of Tural must navigate the intricacies of myriad cultures, and there's no better way to prove oneself qualified to do so than to work with foreign allies.
I guess that would be a good idea to get some foreign allies at the start upon rising to power immediately.
That's why I sought you out. Through our hunt, I've confirmed that you're a warrior of considerable skill, but more importantly, one of good character as well. And so I ask you, will you lend me your strength and help me win the throne of Tulihualal?
I mean, if you want to throw your lot in with the Reaper, or that merges with a Void Scent creature in order to gain power, yes. Although I guess it's also something I shouldn't say yes to immediately because I haven't seen the other factions.
You don't need to decide right this moment. But I will need you if I'm to triumph over the competition. I'll stay here as long as I can while waiting for your answer.
Probably until around summer or something.
In that case, allow us to prepare a room for you at the Baldessian Annex.
That's very kind of you.
I have some restraint, but I admit it's
Oh,
very
and
tempting.
one more thing. Once we finish eating, would you mind if I took the rest of the meat?
Yeah, you can have it. I swear it's taking all my willpower to avoid it, making the most obvious offers I could have. Whether she has the makings of a ruler, I could not say, but I do know she deeply cares for her nation and her people. Whether you choose to help her, though, is for you alone to decide. Think on it well. Now, it's past time I report on our mission success to the guild ship. I would have done so sooner, except her highness need to have a royal meal. I shall come by the annex later. Till then... What does Gra say first? Judging by her reaction, it appears Holy cuisine isn't excessively fiery. I really should be getting the caviar sandwich, but the abganush sounds more tasty. I usually end up using these for XP anyways. If I actually do an extreme trial or raid, I always I typically buy some off the shop. The Coming Dawn. Raha's mulling over what you've learned of her and her plan. Well, I dare say we now have a fair grasp on Lamont's situation. Still, you've been afforded time to consider. Why not use to learn more about Tyrol? No Manon is bound to have some information on the continent. Certainly wouldn't hurt to be better informed, yeah. Quite right. Not only would it help you make an informed decision, but if you do choose to go, you'd be better prepared for whatever awaits. Come, let's be off to the archives. This is not the first time our character has gone to a new country, but it's the first time we get a decent amount of prep time as well. Well, I guess it depends. I mean, for Heaven's Ward, we kind of got there. We were kind of forced there because nowhere else was safe at the time. We had no way to travel across the seas or anything. Stormblood, we did have an invitation, but we couldn't put it off for too long due to story reasons. Shadowbringers were kind of dumped a bit out of nowhere for some reason. It's not for some reason, if I don't know damn well what it was. Although I guess Stormblood is a bit of an odd one since we were technically on the offensive on that one rather than defensive. It was kind of neat. For some reason I forgot what I was doing. Ah yes, using my Reaper teleportation powers to quick travel. Certainly not a silly thing to be doing. What do I want to use XP on? Nice warrior level, right? These give a tiny bit of XP, so it's probably worth my time, even if it's... Here we are. Pride of the Studium and parent institution of the Great Wall Library. The massive connection of scrolls and tomes of a kind. Knowledge from every corner of the world is collected here. Efforts to complete this Bibliotheca Historica, the ultimate historical story of wisdom, is a quest without end. History, geography, botany, the public archive should suffice to provide solid grounding for Tyrol. Unblemished book. Eurasia cuisine history. It is impossible to adequately discuss cuisine without speaking of that land which modern-day staples hail, the far western continent of Tyrol. Ogre pumpkins, ruby tomatoes, and even the ubiquitous potato. Those crops and more were regularly graced the Eurasian dining tables, trace their origins to the New World, a place that is, as the place is known to most. The tale of this culinary immigration begins in the 6th astral era with the Lamotian. Alright. 6th astral era. Oh, that's actually rather recent because we're technically in the 7th astral era. Wait, no, it's 8th, isn't it? Crap, I forgot the date. The in-universe date, I mean. Oopsie. When a Lomisian sailor named successfully traversed the Indigo Deep to arrive at the therefore unknown continent, he spent several moons exploring inland, in the course in which he encountered dozens of the sprawling nation of Mamulja. He's even granted an audience with the supreme leader, whose confidence he won over with permission to roam freely. Yeah. Ketenrum would return to Tyrol several times, but during his first he charted the land and gathered root vegetables and seeds to bring back to Limsa. Most noble was potato, whose ease of cultivation and nutritional value quickly spread to all corners. Produce was far from the only bounty from the expeditions of Tyrol. Many tantalizing recipes like bean-filled burrito and gripping legends, such as that of the Golden City, reached our shores on his ship. To those outside of Kenterum's circle, Tyrol largely remains shrouded in mystery, yet its influence in our cuisine cannot be overstated. Many scholars, myself included, would relish a chance to immerse themselves in the culinary culture of that faraway continent. Yeah, potatoes are a pretty huge part of dietary requirements. I mean, there's a reason meat and potatoes are generally used to refer to the main portions of meal. Or main portions of anything, since meat and potatoes can be used as a slang. Not slang. It's something else entirely. Metaphor? Simile? Crap, I'm drawing a blank. Now watch as I'll fully understand it all after this, right as the stream ends, because that's how it always works, I swear. Always make sure I'm just lacking enough information to be embarrassed on stream, only to know precisely what I need the moment it no longer matters. The origins of principles of blue magic can be traced back to the esoteric practices of Wallaki, a tribe in the distant continent of Tyrol. Oh yeah, I think they mentioned that in the Blue Mage job quest. The tribe holds nature in the highest, seeking to cultivate spiritual connection with it, and have learned the harness power of wildlife around them. In exchange for teaching them the common tongue, I was permitted to live among them and train in their ways. Those days were some of the most grueling I remember, but they were tremendously rewarding. For instance, I had the privilege of visiting Lapis Canyon, the tribe's sacred grounds. It's so named for the cerulean deposits wells upon the surface, turning the entire canyon a brilliant blue. That sounds wonderful and also probably ruined when people start mining it, like the plot of Final Fantasy VII. Under the shaman's watchful eye, I finally managed to master the Wallachi's art and make animals' power my own. As no name exists for it in the common tongue, I took the liberty of naming it Blue Magic. When the final state is found. Hello, Dumslot, welcome to the stream. Hope you've been doing well. See here. The reason I chose this color, as you'll have doubtless gleaned, is for the significance it holds to the Wallachi. I cannot think of a name more fitting to honor the people for whom this noble magic was born. Grilled cheese. Ooh, sounds delicious. My magic is technically silent. They can't complain about me not staying quiet in the library. Well, technically it's not magic. It's void scent energy, but still. Leather-bound book. What's in this one? Lines in the Sand. Geopolitics of Heidelin. Let us begin by comparing the geographical characteristics of the three great continents in Tyrol. The former stretches from east to west, lies entirely within the northern hemisphere. In contrast, the latter extends the far reaches of both the northern and southern hemisphere, a difference that immediately presents itself in the form of climate variance. Shifts in climates tend to be gentler when moving east to west, but harsher when moving north to south. Owing to this fact, the longitudinal migration. Okay. I'm just gonna bring this, make this easier to explain. Basically, the Final Fantasy XIV world is vaguely similar to the real Earth one. It's not exactly the same. There's a decent amount shifted about, but the general landmass formations are are the same, which has of course led to lots of fan theories about how that might be relevant. Owing this fact is far more common in history. Migration is far more common in history, be it by men, animals, or plants. A case in point is the Allegans who rose to power in Alanard before advancing east to Ilsvar. Their movement could be mirrored thousands of years later by Garleans. Meanwhile, although the disparate tribes of Tyrol waged war with one another for generations, stymied by climate, none could make any great headway north or south. Tribes hailing from the frozen lands withered beneath the desert sun, while those that thrived upon open plains could not pierce dense jungles, such as the way of it, until leader Mamul Jah succeeded in bringing the continent under one banner. Given the land's divided history and reason thereof, one cannot help but be in awe of this feat. Truly, it's a testament to the Autotarch's greatness. Actually, let me check something here. Engines, hold on. What am I looking for here? Wanderer's Palace. Hold on, Wanderer's Palace hard. Who's the boss of that one? Alright, sorry, I'm just checking the wiki here because I'm pretty sure who is the final boss. Figure this out. Sorry, this has been eating away at my for a while. I guess not. I thought maybe the boss from Wanderer's Palace Hard was relevant here, but I guess I was completely wrong. Let's see here. Yeah, there's yeah. So the boss had a completely different name than what I thought. I just had to confirm that's been eating away at me since everyone's mentioned. Let's check this last faded tome here, just to be sure. Every land has given rise to unique wildlife, and the continent of Tyrol is no exception. Yet, while some of the creatures become familiar sight in Eorzea, many more exist that rarely seen us on this side of the Indigo Deep. This tome has a select variety of species, the flora and fauna of Tyrol. Describe the testimonies of sailors and adventurers. Alpaca. Accustomed to Tyrol's craggy mountain ranges, the four-legged beastkin is domesticated for seemingly hundreds, if not thousands of years. The soft white fleece is highly prized by weavers, while their strong legs and sure-footedness make them capable of beasts of burden. Fear. This ferocious scalekin is native to the dense jungles, though Muljaw succeed in taming them and utilize their prodigious strength for manual labor. Given their immense size and power, it comes of no surprise that Wavera is also employed as a siege beast. Enemy fortifications cannot long withstand the horned brute's rampage. Velagarmanda. Tyrali folklore suggests this bird-like creature is the mightiest of beasts and the very embodiment of nature's power. Whether it exists beyond myth, however, is uncertain. Having the wide selection of books relating to Tyrol, you are somewhat better informed by your potential destination. Graha will be eager to know what you've discovered. Should you wish to read these again, you can go to your reference page too. Ooh, nice. I do appreciate that they basically added an entire lore tab to this game just so that you can easily access relevant story stuff, because it's been 6 expansion. Yeah, actually, yeah, counting Dawn Trail, that's the 6th expansion, so there is a lot that could easily be forgotten or missed. I mean, the fact I had to Google the Wanderer's Palace hard mode boss to see if it was who I thought it was pretty relevant. Discovered the library to your satisfaction, have you? Excellent. While there are few books wholly dedicated to the subject of Tyrol, I dare say you find tidbits of useful information scattered here and there. But come, let's continue outside. These mammoths do not take kindly to chatter. Right, we're still in a library after all. Now then, I'm quite keen to hear your honest impressions. I could not but notice we read the same book on cuisine. I was pleasantly surprised to find references to Tyrol within. Among them, did anything particular catch your interest? I was rather taken by the tale of Ken and Rama. Lobatos have a newfound appreciation for them. Yeah, I'm going for that one. As have I, despite having just enjoyed a hearty meal, I find myself craving them now. As they keep well, they were a boon to sailors, and it was the same property that allowed them to survive the voyage to Eorzea in the first place. The book also mentioned a method of preservation which sees them repeatedly frozen and dried. The resultant product was apparently used in a stew by people in mountainous regions. I should like to sample that dish one day. Yeah, that and all the unique cuisines on that vast continent. Oh, but moving on, did you perchance learn aught about the fauna of Tyrol? Given your adventuring background, I thought the topic would interest you. The alpacas were the fun one, but the wyvers were the interesting one. Ah yes, the great horned beasts kept by Momolja, who unleashed them in fortified positions with devastating effect. That reminds me, I recall hearing a few specimens were brought to Vilbrand not long ago. Perhaps it's possible to see them on the island. I thought I had familiar voices. Oh hey, it's the twins. Fancy around the two of you here? Well, have some research of your own, do you? Aye, we hope to arm ourselves with knowledge that may benefit the Garlean people. Having forged a new trade agreement with Razat Han, they expect the next look to foster relations with other nations, and that includes former imperial provinces. In view of this, we've hoped to find hints in history of how neighbors of differing races and ideologies might engage one another. And what of you two? What endeavor brings you here this day? Well, I guess there's no harm in letting them in on what's going on lately. After all, we might be leaving for it relatively soon, like maybe around summer. A nation composed the disparate peoples of Tyrol. I dare say this is precisely the kind of example we seek. We do well to read up on Tiliol style. Yeah, I told you, no matter how many times that word is said out loud, I'll never pronounce it right. It'll go in one ear and out the other. Just look at how huge those ears of mine are. The contest, is Cody the only one allowed to help? There was no mention of such restrictions, if I recall. On the contrary, we were given the impression that she could have several champions. I think I know how to make most of our respite. Follow me, Alphino. I have some planning to do. Alice, say, wait. It would seem our plans have changed, if you'll excuse me. Yeah, she's always been diving headfirst and stuff, even back when she was helping during the Bahamut raid storyline. They never could rest on their laurels. Come, let's return to the annex. Maybe on the way back we can try and figure out some other place that might make a bird like that. That meat was pretty good, but if she's gonna take all the rest, I need to get some more for me. Oh. I mean, I could teleport there, but I mean, why when I can run here? This patch storyline is doing very well to make me hungry. That's for sure.
Oh, it's just... Despite all that we've learned, I can't help but feel we've yet to hear the whole story.
Yeah, the thing that's getting me is we don't know anything about the opponents, what they stand for, or even what who the one who's asking for our help stands for.
What about you, my friend? Are you inclined to accept or refuse Worklamat's request?
Well, as much as I want to go to this new world and see all these new things, I also don't exactly know. Still undecided, to be honest. I mean, as we learned at the patch storyline for Realm Reborn, our character is no good at politics.
I don't blame you. No matter the assurances, it's no simple thing to wade into the midst of a political struggle, and in a foreign land at that. How about this then? Instead of deciding here, go there first and then decide. In the course of seeing new lands and meeting new people, you'll surely find a way forward. That's what adventurers do, is it not?
A simple but elegant solution. I like it.
Such a journey would be the envy of many a scholar. Distant as it is, Tural remains largely unknown to us, with only meager records to be found in Numenon. The experiences to be had, all the things you might hear, feel, and think. It's enough to stir me to the core. Life is a series of journeys, my friend, and there's no telling what awaits us on the long road. But what's important is to be true to yourself as you walk it.
Good point.
Only then can we hope to be content when we arrive at the end of one and step forward into another. Ah, but there's an idea. I have a matter to attend to at the Agora. Please, go on inside. I will join you shortly.
Seems he has an idea, but what could it be? I actually don't know. Seems we have company. Welcome back, Coda. If you're looking for Lama, she's currently with the others in her chambers. If you'd like, I can go fetch them for you. Sounds good to me. Understood. Please wait in the main hall. Well, before I start waiting here, I'll grab a sip of my soda real quick. Dude.
You have the look of someone who's made up their mind. Go on then. Let's hear it.
I wish to boldly go. I've never been one to turn off it. I wish to boldly go where I've never gone before.
Then
Alright.
you need me as much as I need you. Together, we'll blaze new trails in Tural.
By the way, this isn't a battle of the death or anything,
You're
right?
not planning to leave without us, are you? Alphino, Alize! What are you two doing here?
We happened to cross paths at Numenon earlier, you see, and I told them about Wuklamat. And when we fortuitously met again at the Agora just now, they expressed an interest in meeting our visitor.
Ah, you must be the twins who are sneaking after Erenville as toads.
100 things about us you could have told her, and you chose that!
Why wouldn't he? That's the best one!
First impressions last.
'Tis an honor and a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Your Highness. Alphino Leveilleur at your service, and this is my sister Alize.
Oh no, let's not do that. I really can't stand titles. So, you want to participate in the contest too, is that right?
Indeed we do. We've been assisting with the rebuilding effort in Garlemald. Yet while progress is being made, the question remains of how the nation might reconcile with its neighbors. We believe there is much we might learn from Tuliolal, a nation founded on unity. And in return for this honor, we would spare no effort in supporting your claim.
The more the merrier, I say. And I'd be keen to learn about Eorzea and Garlemald from you as well.
Having recruited so many committed and capable allies, I presume you have no need for my continued assistance?
No, we still need someone to sell male Vera to the public. I think I mentioned before, but Final Fantasy 14 here is genuinely the first game where male Vera are seen, let alone are playable. It was a pretty big deal.
Nonsense. Like I told you before, you're indispensable.
Yeah, exactly.
They're strong, aye, but strangers to our land. They need someone to guide them, to point out the dangers, and spare them grisly deaths. I can't think of anyone better suited to that task than you. What's more, despite your assertions, I know you haven't given up on the City of Gold.
As I recall, Kryl, you were the first to state your desire to visit Tural.
Perhaps I was. Still, I can't help but worry about being away just when our order is beginning to find its feet again.
You have nothing to worry about. I haven't forgotten how you held the fort while I set off to explore Alzadal's legacy. It's only fair that I return the favor. Pray, leave the students to Ojika and me.
But, Raha...
You sure?
You want to retrace your grandfather's steps, don't you? This is a rare opportunity, and I insist that you seize it.
Thank you, Raha. Thank you.
Well, looks like it's settled. I'm counting on you all to help me win the throne.
I suppose now is a good time to show you what I spent a small fortune on at the Agora. There. This, my friends, is the latest map of the world, created to celebrate our friendship with the Loporrits. Cast your eyes west of Sharlayan, for there it lies. The site of your next great adventure, Tural.
Yep, as you can see, it is very vaguely like planet Earth. Not exactly, but pretty close. And it would make sense the Loporrits would be able to create an atlas like this. They are, after all, able to see everything from space. They're really good at on-point music, dang! Usually the storyline, the patch storyline prepares for the next expansion around the .3, but here they waited until the .5 ones to wrap up. And that's because they largely did the self-contained plot with Zero and Zeromus. I found it perfectly sufficient. It's just kind of a filler arc, but at the same time, well, it's worked for what it was. It was being a Final Fantasy IV throwback. That's alright. Yeah. The 24-player raid storyline with the 12 is definitely the more popular one, and understandably so. It's a bit more tied to the main one, filling a long-standing question of who exactly were the 12 and what was their role and everything. I really like how the main theme for Endwalker incorporates all the previous ones in one form or another like this. I admit, even with knowing what's coming up, well, what's been revealed about what's coming up, because it's not out yet, I can't possibly know. It's still a case of, oh, pretty nice key art. Oh, I forgot, lost my place. I guess I just really wanted to make sure the main story was completely wrapped up in the, well, release of it. But still, to what extent I am wondering where they could go from here. But again, I'm guessing that's why they're selling Dawn Trail as kind of a summer vacation rather than an end-of-the-world threat to try and, not worry about spectacle creep or whatever it's called. I don't know, I see everyone refer to it something differently. Basically, they try and have to make everything look bigger and more significant than ever before. Sometimes it's good to have a bit of a status quo reset, I guess would be the good way to put it. I actually completely forgot about Alcyon during the 12 storyline. It makes sense that so many were able to correctly guess who he was. It was just a question of whether or not he knew it. Since it's not unusual for, gods to take on a mortal form, but the mortal form doesn't even remember themselves. To try and give them a more proper experience of being human, Xenos. I admit Xenos was the biggest. I didn't know if they made the right choice or not by bringing him back after his initial story arc, but I will admit in the end they did make good use of him. I guess I kind of felt the same way about when they brought back Frieza for the Tournament of Power arc in Dragon Ball Super. So many things felt like they might have been better decisions, but I guess in the end the story did make use of the character to the point that, yeah, it just wouldn't work if it had been someone else, or at least not for the way they'd set it up. I mean, without going too much into potential what-ifs, I just tried to focus on did it work for the story in which they actually wrote rather than the what-ifs, and yeah, I think it worked for what they were doing. And indeed, the same for Xenos. He works well for what they were doing, for what they ended up doing, regardless of any what-ifs. Especially since Endwalker was a bit condensed. We might be here a little while just because the credits are a bit long. I guess I could continue talking a bit about Endwalker. I do know it's one of the more... It's ending as one of the more controversial expansions. But it's mostly for a lot of stuff it's condensing for the story. If I remember right, they mentioned that it was meant to be actually going to be 2 separate expansions, one wrapping up the Garlean storyline and one wrapping up the Ascian storyline, but one of them ended up just way too short, and they decided the easiest solution would be simply to glue the 2 together, make it through. And given the Garlean storyline ends at level 82, I can definitely get why that might be a potential problem. Granted, they could have stretched it out a bit more in a number of ways, but it's probably good. But it does also mean there wasn't quite as much time available to start setting up for the final boss for Endwalker itself, because the way Shadowbringers set it up is it cannot be a known character. It had to be someone we were incapable of learning before, because, well, we didn't know what caused the final days that Emmett spoke about. And obviously, since it was around when he was, when his time was still relevant, it can't be any of the known characters, because, you know, well, everyone here is mortal, while the ancients were effectively immortal. So you can kind of blame Shadowbringers for that, I guess, is the relevant thing to bring up. Shadowbringers had a great story and all that, but well, like anything, it has its own problems. I know a lot of healer mains will complain they didn't have as fun a time there. I'd defect to their opinions for whether or not that's actually accurate, though. I do not heal main at all. Even when I'm not playing a DPS, I'm usually Dark Knight or something as tank. Oh yeah, I did appreciate that they've started trying to make the dungeon bosses a bit more relevant rather than just filler bosses. Like Agnolio and Scarmiglione were dungeon bosses, while Barbarisha and Rubicante were trial bosses, whereas before they might have all 4 been trials, and the dungeon bosses would have just been King, whatever generic enemy lives there. But in general, since all the dungeon have been relatively relevant, so I've been appreciating that, that's for sure. It's possible they will make the Zero storyline relevant for a later one. The Heavensward patch storyline with the Warriors of Darkness, it's also a self-contained storyline that didn't really connect to anything else until Shadowbringers, and while you could probably say that as a defense of it nowadays, I'd point out that Shadowbringers was like 5 years later. Alright? And it's a bit much to say, hey, oh, you owned, this filler storyline's perfectly fine because in 5 years it'll be used for a really great storyline. 5 years is a long time, you know? Like I said, I liked it for what it was, even if it was kind of a filler storyline, but I can understand why others didn't. For the same reason I thought it was pretty neat for the Warriors of Darker storyline, but others felt it was, again, others felt it was mostly filler. It's a good thing that the Four Fiends spoke their names out loud in the voice acted sections a handful of times, because a few of them I've never actually been pronouncing correctly this entire time. You'd think I'd have realized that, though. They're all named after demons from Dante's Divine Comedy, so they've been known even before they were, you know, Final Fantasy bosses. And of course, it's neat that all of them also got those powered-up forms that are only present in 14. They were never in Final Fantasy IV proper, so they do feel a little different. That said, I do get why people might be a bit iffy on it, because, like, the Eden raids were a huge reference to Final Fantasy VIII, but actual boss is there, like, Ultimacia never actually showed up, just ones with other characters with similar motivations such. Then again, I guess the Eden raid itself was kind of, it's important to restoring the first, yes, but in terms of actual fights, the majority of them are just rematches with new versions of the standard primals that are fought back in Realm Reborn. So I can also understand why some might prefer the ones like Pandemonium, because the Pandemonium bosses, while a few of them are basically prototype or souped-up versions of previous bosses, a lot of them are unique, including finally giving what a lot of people were asking for. I mean, since Elidibus, we never fought in his proper form, we got to do it here, for once. That was really nice. We finally got, of course, the information behind La Habrea, the last of the Unsundered. Kind of funny. After his death in Heavensward, a lot of people thought maybe he wasn't actually dead, or maybe he returned. I mean, I guess he kinda did, but it seems he did, in fact, canonically meet his end there, which I guess makes sense. He'd spent so long manipulating the immortals to doing his own dirty work. His arrogance got the best of him, and he never even considered that he had turned on in a way that he couldn't recover from. Oh yeah, the Laports. I remembered a while ago saying I wasn't sure if they were made out of meat or a kind of hard light or whatever. Or even if they had... even if they do what rabbits are famous for. Later supplementary materials, I think it's even available on the website actually, does confirm that they have no biological sex. They're indeed just effectively... yeah, they're effectively just mass-produced familiars, effectively. That certainly does explain all the questions I had. Yeah, like I said, I'm still a bit iffy on having it actually be Golbez, even if his story is a lot different from the other one, from Final Fantasy IV. And though I admit I was wondering if they would use the moon theme from Final Fantasy IV, because that one was a very alien and unique song. But they made sure to keep it the eerie and otherworldly atmosphere, even when they remixed it with these newer instruments. I hope they don't forget the first. Like, I know they've done a lot with it to try... Like, a big thing about the Zero storyline I think I mentioned was clearly meant to feel like a bit of a victory lap, going to basically every major area we've been to throughout the story to help, again, capstone it all off. However, since the first is an entirely separate world from the main one, I'm not sure if we'll be going back there for much reason. Even if they start doing hard mode dungeons again, they haven't done any of those in a while. But they still do make new ones. Like, the easiest ones to notice is how when you went to the what's it called? When you went to the Fairy Palace in Shadowbringers, you could see quite a few paths you weren't allowed to go. So they still build these dungeons with the intent of, okay, we can make a hard mode version reusing the assets easily later, having the player take a different path through. So it's good that they future-proofed it, but they haven't done that in a while. Oh, thanks for the follow, Gamer Boss. I stream just about anything here, so feel free to stop by anytime something catches your eye. Zeromus. Probably definitely one of the hardest normal modes, but one of the easiest EX modes, because extreme mode is basically just normal mode with like 2 extra mechanics. Interesting. Still, they did make it a pretty satisfying fight, and I guess that's what matters ultimately. It's just that once you master the normal mode version, you're actually going to be pretty good at the regular. And of course, saving Ajdaya. A simple quest that turns into a mission to save, the entire first. I mean, I've been dipping it now this game a lot, but it's been a good one for that. And of course, the story we just I only really did heavy raiding during Stormblood, but it was definitely a fun time, going all the way to Kefka and Exdeath, and oh, sadly, I don't think we ever reached Omega proper, but still, it was great while it lasted. I don't know if I'll be doing it for Dawn Trail. I guess we'll see how I'm feeling. Sometimes it's good to have one you can just dip in and out of whenever you feel like, especially since some of the dungeon runs just don't take that much time at all. I mean, it takes a little more if you go with trusts, but at the same time, trusts also don't require connection, which was good when I had those connection issues a while ago. I had some streaming issues during Lethal Company a little while ago, but that was purely on Lethal Company itself. The 5 hours I played there with my buddies was working just fine. It was only the recording that got screwy. Unfortunate. I'm definitely gonna have to play Pictomancer and the two upcoming DPS jobs, see if any feel better than Reaper. It's entirely possible one will make me change mains yet again, because for Realm Reborn, I was Bard the whole time, but after they changed, I ended up playing a lot of Ninja after that came out. Hello, Diox, welcome to the stream. I ended up playing a lot of Ninja as well during Realm Reborn, so it was a hard time to choose my favorite. I tried to stick to Bard for Heaven's Ward, but that was the time they infamously got turned into the Bow Mage, where you got a casting bar for all your attacks. I do get the idea behind it, don't get me wrong. Basically taking a moment to aim before firing. It's perfectly logical, it's just that it wasn't very fun, so I ended up going to Ninja for Heaven's Ward. And then of course Stormblood came and I stuck to Red Mage the entire time. Shadowbringers, I almost switched to Dancer, but ended up sticking with Red Mage in the end. And of course, for Endwalker, I switched immediately to Reaper. I knew the super mode would be fun, but I didn't realize just how satisfying it would be both in single target and AoE farming. I guess that's something nice about the melee jobs. They've got some pretty good AoE rotations to feel satisfying, when normally it's the mages and other range jobs that would be better for that. The water spirit. I do hope we see the ones from the 13th again, Zero and Golbez. Definitely set up something there they could potentially revisit, but hard to say. I highly doubt they were planning Shadowbringers all the way back in Heavensward when they did the Warriors of Darkness storyline, so I doubt they have an immediate plan here, but they at least do seem to know to future-proof stuff, so they don't have to worry too much about needing to endlessly retcon things. And I will say they certainly did a pretty good job of actually feeling like an ending here. Sorry, it looks like it caught me at the end of the stream here. Let's see here. Well, I'm glad to have gotten this one done. And of course, would heavily themed around food, so of course I'm going to be hungry at the end, because of course. But hey. Final Fantasy 14. Enjoy all the new waifu and husbandos it introduces. No point in even... No point in being coy about it. One of these days I really need to go to my VODs, check how long the, what's it called? The credits are being, so that I can, know exactly how long I need to prepare for at the end, or maybe I could even end the stream before they happen. I don't know. If nothing else, it's nice to do a little reflecting. I know I was debating if I wanted to do a bit more than the main story here, but I guess I'm a bit more tired than I expected, so I might just end it after the reminiscing and reflecting here. Might be interesting. I can't exactly do the, what's it called? The, yeah, I don't have the resources to do the final step of the Manderville weapons anyways, so it doesn't matter if I do the Hildebrand quest tonight or not. Perhaps it's also best I not rush it anyways. It's best to not make... It's good to... I know people joke about MMOs basically being a second job you have to pay for, but that's why I always tell people to take a break anytime it starts actually feeling like an obligation rather than for fun, you know? That's my personal advice, at least. Should also apply to mobile games as well, because those are really prone to trying to get you into routine and make you feel obligated. But I guess it also depends on the game. Game support. I have heard the legends, that's for sure. Let's see here. Player special investigation sounds like a quest line. I swear. I know, and yeah, I know what it actually means. I'm just rather, I don't know. It just sounds like an actual quest in the game itself. No, I guess for the person working on it, it might as well be. Your reward, actual real life money. Just so you know, you can skip this. I know, I just kind of felt like it. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I know about it, I just didn't do it earlier because I don't even know. I guess the real question at this point is a matter of, do I... Yeah. Oh, hide scrolling text. Okay, I guess in case you want to see the key artwork. That's pretty neat. Well, I'm definitely going to be streaming the main story into Dawn Trail, I can tell you that much. Yeah, I probably should have activated it sooner. There's still going to be a while here, isn't it? I'm going to have to skip here. Yeah, sorry. I do miss the end, but I'm honestly getting pretty tired and all that. Lest you wonder about your pastoral, Ernville arrange a ship through this guild. You need only worry about your own preparations. Okay, that's good. Speaking of which, please take these with you. A rugged and ready knapsack may serve you well on your coming adventures. I'm not sure when your departure will be, but I'm sure I'll let you know when I hear something. Till then, please take your ease. I'd wager around... Let's see here. Around, 6 or 7 months, if I had to guess. Meanwhile, in Limsa Lominsa... My, we're gonna have an... What kind of cliffhanger are we getting?
When does the next ship set sail?
May I ask your destination?
The north and east, I've already seen. I suppose I'll head west this time.
Heh.
West, you say?
Meanwhile, in old Charlian...
I see you've made up your mind. I had a feeling you'd be keen.
But to think that our comrades too are thither bound. Fate doth work in mysterious ways.
Indeed. It will be a grueling task, having to contend with them.
If the prospect doth trouble thee, 'tis not too late to decline the petition. Though thine expression would suggest thou art far from perturbed.
I love how cheeky J is.
Oh, how could I possibly be, knowing what's to come?
Tancred's pretty openly cheeky, but even past the ye olde English, J knows how to keep up.
Then let us delay no further and secure passage on a vessel.
Aye. This will be a mission to remember. Come, my friend. We make for Taral.
In case anyone had any more doubts. We're gonna kick their asses so badly, I have no chance against this. Yeah. They're not being subtle about what's to come, that's for certain. I want to avoid talking too much about what's been revealed so far, but it seems they want to be sure anyone who missed the fan fest will get everything through the patch story, I guess.
Tell me, have you been to the ruins beneath the waters of the Bounty?
Emmett.
Or the treasure islands beyond the frozen waters of Blind Frost in Offerd's north? The fabled golden cities of the New World?
Warrior Bros? No, I'm a Reaper, actually. I'm using the Scythe of the Round. The fabled golden cities of the New World. Emmett, did you foresee all this? Or is this like that one meme? Everywhere I go, I still see his face. Weigh anchor now, the tide is high, the dawn of a new adventure nigh. Row forth to break horizon's bond and tread the gilded path beyond. And there we are, tomorrow's unknown. I mean, if you want to see my main tank, that's Dark Knight, actually. For being a Reaper. Well, as you can see, my favorite tank is Dark Knight, so I'm pretty much doomed to be an edgelord no matter what I main. Well, unless you count the, whoops. Right, I replaced some gear on them recently. Unless you want my red mage, who is much more dapper. Alright. Well, for now, I think this might be a good time to call it because I am tired and I don't want to do the Hildebrand quest when I'm sleepy and not able to appreciate how hilarious it is. So until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.